Hello, and welcome to Aero TV. We are here in the beautiful Chief Morning News studios to discuss all things Hopakon. I'm today's host, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Joseph Picarillo. Now, today's episode is a special one, and not just because I'm hosting, but because I'm about to introduce a special initiative that I believe will be an important and helpful resource for Hopakon parents and students. Before I jump right into it, I'd like to introduce to you the gentleman to my right, proud product of the Hopakon Borough School District, all-around tech guru, Mr. Kyle Bisignani. Kyle, welcome to Aero TV.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, when I first came on board as Assistant Superintendent, this was back in August, Kyle was among the first people I met. I was so impressed with Kyle's passion for Hopakon and his deep knowledge of technology, and this isn't even to mention that Kyle is a great guy. So in our beginning conversations, he and I brainstormed ideas to help the district, and with the urging of our superintendent, Mr. D. Benedetto, we began looking at the possibility of having a district mobile app. Now, this idea generated in part as a response to some of the concerns we heard from the parents and the community. This was our community meeting prior to the start of the school year. Many parents shared with me that they had become frustrated with the number of websites and platforms to follow, with the number of usernames and passwords to remember, and with the number of papers and permission slips going home. So parents told me, if only there was a one-stop shop for contacting a child's teacher, receiving school news, accessing the school calendar, receiving emergency alerts, or simply seeing the lunch menu, it would make life so much easier. So it was clear to me and to Kyle and to our superintendent that a mobile app would certainly help streamline information and organize its delivery. So Kyle and I began researching. We started speaking with many companies that offer apps for schools. We compared functionality, styles, features, and prices. Some companies didn't offer enough features, or offered ones we didn't like, or that we plain just didn't need. And then Kyle turned to me and said, you know what? I could do this from scratch and ensure that our app has everything we need and nothing we don't. So after many conversations with Kyle, with our superintendent, with our Board of Education, and after countless hours of coding work from Kyle, much of that which I don't even understand, I'm very proud to announce that beginning Monday night, November 25th, following the Board of Education's public meeting, the brand new Hopakon app will be released in its beta form. So our plan today is simply to take you through the app, show you how it works. Now, several board members, parents, administrators, and teachers, they're going to be using this app over the next couple of weeks while it's in beta. And we will use this time to work out some of the kinks before releasing it to the entire public. Now, that release, mark calendars. I'll pause, give you a second to take out that calendar. It's January 6th. This is when it's going to be released to the full public. So during this overview, if you have a question, please just jot it down, send me or Kyle an email. Now, I know there's a lot of you consuming this content by video, so if you are, our email is here, right here at the bottom of the screen. But for those of you consuming via podcast, my email, jpiccirrillo@hopakconschools.org. Now, we really do value your feedback because one of the benefits of having Kyle building this from scratch is that we can modify aspects of this app at any time so that it meets the needs of our families. Having said that, Mr. Bisignani, how are you, sir?
A little nervous, a little apprehensive. It's like, taking your child and putting them out in the world and seeing what they do. So.
Yes. And I know we've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah,
I know you've been working hard. So how are you feeling about the big release?
It's exciting. It really is. One of the things that I've been really excited about this is as I've been developing it, coming up with ideas and things that are really going to help the community, help the public in utilizing this app and using it as a new form of communication that really brings everything together. You know, I was thinking about it on the way in this morning, and I was thinking on our website we have all these different places with all sorts of great information. You got digital backpacks, you got parent and student resources, the newsflash, the school homepages, the school newsletters that get sent home. All of this information that's great, but like you said, it's all over the place. And this could be a place that unifies everything, that brings everything together. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting to me that we can do that and really help everyone, all stakeholders, parents, students, teachers, all staff members, board members, the community, all can utilize this one resource.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, look, we want to hop right into this. Before we just start with the discussion of the app, is there anything we need to know prior to jumping in?
So initially, as you mentioned, the app is in beta, which means that there's going to be little bugs, there's going to be little quirks, and we're going to probably continue to build out additional features as time goes on. So everything you see here right now, there will be more added on top of that by the time this is fully released on January 6th.
Very good. So now, before going on, one quick shout out. I have to shout out Mr. George Segali behind the camera, so thank you, Mr. Segali. As a warning to some of the viewers and listeners, now I have to say this. Many of you know I'm currently in a doctoral program. Now I'm taking a course this semester on brain-based research and brain-based learning. So you have to excuse me if I cannot resist the opportunity to point out that we have some really wonderful brain-based strategies that have been built into the app's functionality. So you've all been warned. I hope not to dork out too much. So Kyle, why don't you start taking us through this app?
Sure thing. So first thing that you'll see after you've downloaded the app is a welcome screen. Basically, this is the onboarding process of the app. So as I mentioned before, we have all different stakeholders that can utilize this app. And so we kind of need to know a little bit about who are you. So the first time you launch it, it'll bring up and basically ask, are you a parent? Are you a student? Are you a staff member? Or are you someone else? Or you'd prefer not to say right now, and you can just hit skip and just bypass all that.
And now during this onboarding process, although it may be tempting just to hit skip because you can move through it quicker, there really is such a benefit, and we'll see as we go through, of really filling out this process because it provides that customizable aspect of it.
Correct, which we'll touch on in a bit, but the onboarding process, and the reason why I wouldn't even say you should skip it is because it's really simple. We already know who you are because you have a Hopac on School's email address, if you're a student or a staff member. If you're a parent, you have a Power School account, then you've linked all of your children to that. So by going through this and just simply logging in, we can then take all of that information that we have already about who you are, who your children are, or who your students are, and it all ties in immediately without any additional work. You just log in with an existing username and password that you already have. You don't need a new account or anything like that. Log in with what you got, and the app is already familiar with who you are.
Great. I have to say, it looks very nice, too.
Oh, thank you. It's just the first screen,
It already looks good.
All right,
so take us through.
I am a staff member, so I'm going to hit staff. And when I do that, it's going to say, hey, great, you're a staff member. That's fantastic, but we need you to sign in using your Google account. Now, it's important to note that a lot of us, I don't know about yourself, but I know for me, I have on my phone my Gmail, my personal Gmail account, as well as my school Google account. So when I hit sign in, it's going to say, hey, which one of these two accounts do you want to use? So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to hit sign in. It's going to bring up that prompt. I'm going to hit my staff hopaconschools.org account. And once I do that, bam, I'm in the app. I'm logged in. I'm ready to go to use the app. Nothing else. All right. In here, we have our feed. And essentially, if you're familiar with Facebook or you're familiar with Twitter or any social media app whatsoever, you're going to notice this is a very familiar interface to you. And one of the things that I realized as I was developing the app and brainstorming ideas as to how to make this was this is a fantastic method to share information. Obviously, it's a formula that works. That's why every social media site on the planet uses it. All right. We have so much information that we need to share with parents and staff and students. that this allows you to get access to so much information so quickly and tailor make it so that no matter who you are, you're getting just information that's associated with you.
And so, Kyle, this to totally dork out on this. You're hitting so many important strategies here, right? So the functionality, it mimics what you might see on social media. So there's a built-in comfort that a lot of our parents and students are going to have.
Absolutely,
they know how this works. Right?
Absolutely,
and we talked about before one of the important things when we set out to make this app was to remove the clutter of kind of drinking from a fire hose, right? So if you onboard correctly, you're getting just the information that's pertinent to you. So you're not going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to be stressed with the amount of information. You're getting just exactly what you need. So that's helpful.
Right. So I log in, and let's say I'm a staff member at Durban Avenue or a parent of a student at Durban Avenue or anything like that. Once I've logged in, the app knows that and will show me things tailor-made just for Durban Avenue. So I'm not getting events that are occurring at the high school if I don't have any kids at the high school. And with that being said, everything is customizable. You can, of course, go into your settings and say, hey, I really want to get access to some more information.
You went dark there.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So, yeah, you can go in and say, I really want to get access to some additional high school information. You can go into your settings and tweak that out. But by default, you log in and you're set.
Now, here's a question. We do have nearly 30%. I don't know how many people realize this, but nearly 30% of our families speak Spanish or Spanish-speaking families. Now, they might not be their primary or only language, but surely there's going to be folks that are going to be accessing this app that want it in a different language, Spanish or another language.
Correct.
How does the app work with that functionality?
So essentially, if you have your phone set up in a different language, the app will detect that because it's installed on your phone, and it will modify the menus and shortcuts and things like that in order to translate those words and things into your native language that you have set up on your device. In addition to that, because all of this content is web-based, we can use the power of Google Translate to automatically translate any of the content. Now, granted, it's Google Translate, so it may not be 100% accurate, but it's very, very good. It's been utilized so much in so many venues that I'm very comfortable to say that anyone who uses it is going to have a very nice, comfortable experience using the app in their native language.
And that alone, again, back to these strategies here, that alone is going to eliminate some stress for a lot of families that want to communicate and be more involved, but maybe don't have the command over the language. And when they receive a letter home that's in English, maybe they're not really getting all that information. So now the power to just change this just through your settings, I think, is a very strong one.
Absolutely.
And then I don't want to minimize the impact that having these images built into the app and the possibility for video.
Absolutely.
Having the possibility of read aloud, all of these functionalities make it much more engaging, and the ability to learn in multiple ways other than just having the print.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. You can do photos, you can do videos, any multimedia content that you're familiar with seeing on the web is baked into this app as well.
Okay. So keep going, Kyle. Keep showing us.
So obviously the Newsfeed, that's nice, that's pretty, that's where you're going to get a majority of your information. And like other social media platforms, you have the ability to do things like things. You can, in addition to that, you can star something, which essentially makes it almost like a favorite. So if there's something that came up in your feed and I want to remember this, you can star that and get back to it later at a later time. Because obviously, as time goes on, the newsfeed is going to get larger and larger and expand further and further. If there's something you're afraid that you're going to miss out on, star it, and then you can always get back to it, just like a bookmark or a favorite in your browser.
Right, because we realize a lot of these parents are. I mean, one of the benefits of the mobile app is you can access it anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
So most of you are accessing a lot of your content through mobile phones, but you're doing it in 5-minute little segments while you're waiting online to get your coffee. Right. So, hey, I've been there. I'm reading an email, and then I have to tell them that I want it black, no sugar, no milk, and my coffee. So there you can just mark it and get back to it when you're ready.
You got it. All right. So just to continue a little further beyond the news feed, there is at the top left corner here, there's an access to the menu. And click on that, and it's going to bring you basically highlights from the web. All right, things that we have on our website that we are able to essentially pull into the mobile app very easily and provide additional information out to our stakeholders, to our parents and students and staff. So you can see right here, I'm on my feed. That's the first link there. We also have access to the district calendar, and it will bring you a customized list. Just like the news feed is going to bring you a customized list of what is at Durbin Avenue or at the middle school, because that's where I have students or whatever. The calendar is going to mimic that as well. So you'll just get events from the school that you are associated with. Again, just by virtue of logging into the app using your existing credentials. We also have other things like access to staff. Now, as I mentioned, for the purposes of this demonstration, I added myself as a staff member at Durbin Avenue. So I click on staff, and it immediately pops up Durbin Avenue Elementary School and the staff there. Now, if I were a parent or a student, this would even be further narrowed down to just the staff members and associated, main office staff that I am associated with. So you're not even looking at like every single teacher in the building. You can, of course, get to that information, but when you just launch it and see it initially, you will see just the teachers that matter to you, which is great when you think of like a high school or middle school setting where you have your child has like 7 teachers, 8 teachers. You'll just see the ones that your child has without having to dig through a website or try and figure out.
Oh, it's tremendous. And if you're talking about you have a high school student, your high school student has a science teacher, their name starts with B, you can't it's just right there. You don't have to go hunting and pecking through. Now, when you go and you contact a parent from here, how does it? You click on it and it pulls up. How do you do that?
So we all have always had multiple modes of communication. All right. So what we've done here is we have essentially simplified the staff page so that you have the staff member listed there, and then you have access to the staff member's website, their email, or even their voicemail. And you tap the voicemail, and essentially it's going to call into the voicemail system and let them know, hey, you need to plug in your extension. Right there, leaving them a voicemail message. Email is probably the form of communication that most people are familiar with and most people are comfortable with. That's great. There's an envelope icon right there. You tap that, it'll launch your email on your phone, and you can fire off a quick email. So nice, quick, easy ways to communicate.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it does have this app. You'll probably get to this too, Kyle. I don't want to jump ahead, but the functionality also works in conjunction with our student information system.
Correct. So that's where it's getting a lot of the information from, as far as what teachers your child has or what classes you're taking as a student. It will hook into all of that and utilize that information to give you that customized experience.
So from this app, if my son Leo is in his class, I know he just had a math test. I can use the app to see what his math test score was.
Correct.
When I find out he's failed, maybe he didn't fail, but for this conversation, let's say Leo failed his test. Now I can see his score. I can then go and contact his teacher.
Correct.
All in one-stop shop.
Yeah, this will bring you right into the Power School application, and you can absolutely you can see those grades and stuff right from within the app.
Tell me about push notifications, Kyle.
Sure, absolutely. So push notifications, as you're familiar with, basically are those little dings you get on your phone, and you pull down the top and, hey, look, here's a message here. Push notifications are extremely useful, especially when you're talking about time-sensitive things. Things that are coming up, events that are coming up, or notifications from a staff member even. If staff members want to, they can utilize this to send push notifications to all their students or parents about things that are going on in their classroom. You can obviously customize those notifications to whatever you want. If you don't want to get counter notifications, but you do want to get notifications from your child's teacher, absolutely you can go into the app and customize that setting. But you got it. All those notifications are all baked into this right from the get-go.
Now, one of the things that I think is really nice about this app that we haven't discussed is the opportunity for us to build as an administrative team a shared vision with the community. I do realize that this district has had many different superintendents and assistant superintendents, people in central office over the past several years. And so that is another point of frustration when I've spoken to parents about not really knowing all the new initiatives that are coming and going because there's been such turnover. So this is another opportunity for us to be on the same page and for you, the parents and community, to see what we're up to, because we'll be putting out content too.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's important. Another important note is it's not just for the parents or students. It's for everybody, including staff. Staff can be on here as well. Staff can get important communications from administration. It's a very large community, and the app will tailor itself to whoever you are, thanks to the fact that we already know a lot about you just by logging in.
Well, look, as I said before, we're in beta.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be hitting beta starting on Monday. We'll be doing this for the next few weeks. We're hoping to launch in January 6th in full version. Now, a couple of things we're already looking for. We're looking for your feedback. Please email me. We are working on some functionality to do feedback directly through the app, so we will try to work on that. And now I did talk to Kyle about this. We're also looking at the opportunity to do some sort of gamification of this app, because you know what makes using an app more fun than getting a gold user status or you've had 7 days in a row, or so we are looking at we are looking at things like this. So look, thank you for watching. Thank you for consuming this content in either podcast or video form. Please message us if you have any other questions, and we're looking forward to having a real great sharing of content, information, and transparency communication with you, the family, and with us, the school district. Thank you very much. Have a great day. A special shout out to Ryan Tremblay, who is working the teleprompter, because Lord knows I wouldn't remember the things to say if it wasn't for Ryan. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the time.
And thank you, George, again for helping us out behind the camera.